Hi there, here we are with series 16 of What and number 27. Yep, the numbers are getting up there. We're still talking about Joseph, and we're talking about how his brothers had been to visit him, and then they had to go back and explain why Simeon wasn't actually with them. And they were afraid, because they only got part of what was going on. They had discovered there was money in one of the brothers' sack, and they didn't know, they hadn't checked the rest of the sacks, and they didn't know that there was actually all of the money given back to them. So when they would have got home, they would have been really stressed. They were afraid because they were already suspected as being spies, and now they could be accused of being thieves. They were afraid because, they had guilty consciences, didn't they? And what they're saying here is, what is it that God has done to us? Their consciences, their problem, and they're saying, what's God done to us? That doesn't seem fair on God, does it? It doesn't seem that at all. Their consciences were under such great bondage that they even regarded something good as a punishment. A guilty conscience doesn't even know how to handle the gifts of God. Until believers are reconciled with Jesus, they don't really understand what it is about God's gifts. In verses 29 through to 34, the brothers return to their father and tell him the story. Then they went to Jacob, their father, in the land of Canaan and told him all that had happened to them, saying, "The man who was lord of the land spoke roughly to us and took us for spies of the country. But we said to him, 'We are honest men. We are not spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of our father. One is no more. The youngest is with our father this day in the land of Canaan.' Then the man, the lord of the country, said to us, 'By this I will know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers here. Take food for the famine for your household to be gone, and bring your youngest brother to me, so I shall know that you are not spies, but that you are honest men. And I will grant your brother to you, and you may trade in the land.'" Yeah. All right, they've got to go back and report all this to their dad. Think of what the rest of the journey back was like. For several days as they travelled, many things would have been on their minds. And perhaps it became obsessive. How do we explain that Simeon is not with us? How is Dad going to take that? How do we explain that we have both the grain and the money? How do we explain that we have to go back to Egypt and take Benjamin with us? Yeah. But what they did when they got back was they told him all that had happened. When the brothers finally made it home, they told their father, Jacob, the truth. The last time they came back with one of the brothers missing, they told a lie. They made up a story. They made up the story about Joseph being attacked by a wild animal. They even had his bloody coat of many colours to give us false evidence for their lie. This time, it's different. The fact that they told the truth here was a small but a really good step. Good things often start small. They say that we are honest men. They mostly told the truth. They could say we are honest men in regard to their dealings with the mysterious Egyptian, the man who is the lord of the country. But they were not honest men when they lied about Joseph's death about 20 years before. And, get it, they're still lying about it. Notice they said, "And one is no more." Joseph knew they were not honest men. He didn't know the exact lie they told Jacob to explain Joseph's disappearance, but he knew they must have lied in some way. Joseph knew who they were, but he also knew what they could become. This is a really huge part to this story. There's the future. There's the potential. Joseph recognizes it. Jesus knows us better than we know ourselves. He knows you, but he also knows what you can become. And that's something that we have to get from this story. Bless you.